Welcome to the Reseller Information Network, episode 47. And we're on our way to the 1 year anniversary. Guys, we are looking for some exciting stuff coming before we hit the 1 year anniversary. We're looking at doing some events. We do want to give a special shout out to all our channel membership: Azcat Sue, Simply Shenanigans, Diane Math, Blood Sweat Cell, Trash Cat Rescue, New England Betty Boot, Joe Deals, Old School Picker, Vintage Sports Flips, Charity's Terrific Find, Kathleen, the Fern Wave Flip, and Mr. Kent Daigle. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys. Looking forward to this month's coming special members only streaming. How do we ship live? So, guys, if you want to come and be a part of that, feel free to check out the channel membership down below. We will make mention of you guys each and every week. We do appreciate all of you guys who watch the channel. If you're new here and you're not a subscriber, go ahead and take care of that while you can. And also, as always, drop us questions on either here on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Follow us on all those platforms. Did want to make mention of a couple comments that we had from this past week's video. The blessed Razor stuff. Yeah, let's go ahead and tangle that right on up. The best place for stuff. Yeah, say that 3 times fast and you'll sound like
best
me.
place for stuff. Best place for stuff. Best place for stuff. Best place for stuff. Best place for stuff.
See all the shout outs you get when you come to our YouTube channel? Like, you just got like 15 right there. She says, you guys are right on point and know that as resellers. And also says, happy to see Tim. She actually said time, so it's not just me, guys. She said time from over the years. So there you go. Kathleen, the Fernway Flipper, says, good stuff, guys. Let's go. And New England Betty Boop says, woohoo, 1 year coming in hot. Happy weekend, fellas. So thank you guys for your comments there. We also had a ton of information coming on the Facebook of people asking either questions, having interactions with us there. We do thank all you guys for over there. We're going to get to some of those questions today. And actually, we're going to do a few segments today that'll lead into some of the questions that you guys have. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in on those. Stick around. You won't want to miss the information coming your way today. So first up today, we wanted to talk about one of the things that we see oftentimes in our Facebook is people are trying to identify items that they picked up. If you watch us live on Tuesdays, you see each and every one of us will do some show and tell. And we're like, hey guys, do you know anything about this? I found this today. Like today, my little show and tell was for a resident glass expert. I held this up and you know what? They rattled it off. Like Tim just said, it's the...
This is the real test though. Do you remember what I said?
This is the cornucopia shape, right? And silver lining. It is Fenton glass. Every cloud has a silver lining. Crest. That's what's right. There's silver crest. And this kind of looks like a tongue sticking out. Like, so Tim actually helped me with this though, and I did write it down and I put it in my listings. So it's taken care of. But we oftentimes come across things that we don't really know how to identify. So we want to go ahead and look and talk to these guys about what do you do to identify. I'll tell you what I do. I phone a friend. That's what I say. Help me, your help. Leroy, what do you do when you have something you can't identify?
I always try to do Google Lens and try to see if I can find close under Google Lens. That's usually something that, I'll try to do because I don't know what it is. Something else that I do is when I do the listing, I make sure to sort of let the people know, hey, I'm not sure what this is. I'm going to show you guys real quick here. I got a listing pulled up. Okay, and share. I actually did it without these guys this time. Let's see, can you let me in? Okay, so this is a listing that I'm creating, and right here, it says one unknown machinist tool, round, steel bit, round again, just in case they didn't know it was round. But a mechanic. Now, it tells you, I really have no idea what it is. And then it's unbranded. I don't know what it is. And then down in the comments that show up right underneath your heading, I put unknown item. If you know, please message me. Thank you. You guys would be surprised and shocked on how many times I actually have done what I just did not mess up. Good job, Leroy.
There you go.
but that I've actually gotten the right answer from people, and people will message me like, price it high if you're a little afraid, and I promise you, within a day or so, you're definitely gonna get somebody's gonna tell you. You might not want to hear some of the answers, but again, it's an easy, quick way. It's a cheating way how to get the information that you might be looking for, because somebody is always paying an attention of what you're doing. It could be another reseller, it could be a buyer. Somebody is paying attention. And to be honest with you guys, if you want to sell an item and you want to get a couple extra eyes on it, put that word unknown in the title, because people are looking for unknown. They're looking for misspelt stuff. Go to Snap-on Tools and just put snap in or snap over or snap around. They look for those keywords. They actually save those keywords. I learned this a long time ago. You think that it's not right. Go and misspell something that should be spelled a certain way, and look up how many listings come up under that. Like uranium glass. Type in uranium wrong and look up and see how many listings actually come up that they're right listings, that it's uranium glass. Or clothing that somebody has, they think it's blue and they say it's purple or blue, and look it under that way. I'm running on and on, but it's just because I got excited for a minute. But it's something that you can use as a tool to find what you're looking for, but you also can use it as a marketing tool. Back to you.
Our Donkey and Jabroni, Tim, what do you use?
So for me, I kind of use a couple of different techniques. I think we're all probably going to use a lot of the same sort of techniques here. So Google Lens is going to be one of my go-tos. I think the biggest thing, most important thing is like kind of using each tool to help you get to the finish line, because sometimes like you'll find something on Google Lens and it'll take you somewhere, and maybe like you'll finally figure out like the maker or the brand, right? And then you can use that information and go search the brand and find it and get the actual name of the item, the pattern, the color. And then you just have to use each tool to kind of push you to the finish line until you feel comfortable with a complete description and title. So Google Lens is definitely one of them. So I use replacements a lot for identification. Also, obviously, I use WorthPoint, and hopefully Eric will put my WorthPoint in the description below. I did a video on how to use WorthPoint. So with replacements and WorthPoint, both of those have now implemented the Google Lens sort of technology, where you can use photos on WorthPoint and on replacements.com, where you can use that photo to search what they have in their sort of catalog of items. So that's definitely two things that I use. I'm actually a member of a couple of Facebook groups, glass groups. So sometimes if I cannot literally because just sometimes you just find something and it is just it is so tough. I have this piece right here, and so I took pictures of this and put it in the Facebook groups, and there's 30,000 people in there. Some people who know glass, you think I know glass, they make me look like putting Eric in an antique glass show. You know what I'm saying? It's that's how they make me feel sometimes. But even nobody could properly identify it. Most people think it's English, so which makes it a little bit difficult because it's not American. So Facebook groups can definitely be helpful. Obviously, I like to use sometimes I will type out the words into Google search, right? And then check the images on Google search. And then sometimes if I describe it by words, it will show up on the images on Google search. Then I click that, and then I, go down the link and stuff. And then like Eric said, the phoning of a friend. I mean, there's plenty of times where I've called Leroy, Eric, or Cernoch and have asked them questions. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's just, you might know, but you just don't know. And you need that little extra, backup to kind of make you feel more comfortable. So I think that there's tons of tools out there. It's just, and then obviously books. I use a lot of books too. A lot of books. And then that's pretty much my go-to as far as sources for identifying an item. I think sometimes trust your gut, though, to not give up. Sometimes you just have to give up. So I know that's kind of backwards suggestion there. But you don't want to just give up too early and then post something and then it sell in 2 seconds and then you realize, damn, that was really, really underpriced, or you don't want to like put something up for like, $200 and then it's actually really worth like $20 and you're like, why is nobody buying this?
Right.
So like sometimes but also you don't want to go down the rat hole for too long, because then it just ends up in a death pile. It ends up just sitting there. So sometimes you kind of just got to like go with the best title and description you have, price it like high, and if you're not getting any traction, then maybe it's a little bit high, so then bring your price down and so forth. So that's kind of like what I use as far as trying to describe items.
Now, everything that they said, that's all good. Google image, asking other people too. Here's another thing too. I see this a lot in the communities of shoe, clothing, and things like that. Look at the tags, okay? Look at model numbers, especially for shoes. A lot of the shoes have model numbers, and I see a lot of people post going, "Hey, what shoes are these?" And it's always like, "Well, what's the model number?" And they look inside, and I've done a video here on RIN about that. So if you can go look through the archives of our videos, and I show you how to do that. That's another way of just finding out what you have. Flipping it. Taking an electronic, flipping it over. There's going to be a model number, hopefully somewhere there. So those are good ways to get yourself. Like knowing items as well, to where, you look at enough of those. I buy a lot of shoes. Eric will tell you this. I've seen enough shoes. I can go, yes, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, so just by looking at it, but if sometimes it's like, wait, what is that? Let me check it. And that's where you check the model number, especially, like I said, especially in shoes. Clothing's a little bit different. Sometimes you can find, style numbers, model numbers. Sometimes you can't. And that's where, again, like Tim said, using all those items, to help you. It's like, okay, I know the brand is this. Now let me take a photo of it. Now here's the thing on Google Image, you can take a photo of it. It'll bring up things that are similar to it, but then you can add in keywords. Yeah.
Colors, name, model numbers.
Correct. And that'll kind of get you more honed down to where where you need to be. So that's what I say. Again, a lot of like shoe and clothing. Look for the style numbers. Look for the model numbers as well.
I'll just add one other thing that I was thinking about while we were there is Facebook groups. That's kind of a tool that I use if I pick up things that I'm not like. Oftentimes, I remember when I first started reselling, I had all these Marvel action. Now, I read Marvel comics as a kid. I know a pretty good amount of who they are, but the problem is when you get into something like that, there's years that there's a slight variation difference. And dude, unless you're just like honed in and studying that stuff, you're not going to know. So you know what I did? I joined a Marvel action figure fan club Facebook group. And dude, I just popped pictures up there like, hey guys, what's this? Oh, that's the blah, 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 blah. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks. Like, one of those things. Are you interested? They're like, how many do you want to buy? So like you may actually, I actually in my Facebook feed, I've had to go back and delete some out, but I had the Stompers. I had a Stomper museum group that I was a part of because I found some Stompers. I had the Marvel that I was a part of. We're all in a vintage hat group that we could probably drop a hat at any point in there and probably get some people that want to buy it as well. There's a lot of different Facebook groups that you can look at. Because believe me, one thing you'll learn about reselling on eBay and all these other platforms is there is people that nerd out on every genre of everything in the world. Like there is teacup groups. There is you name it. There is Snap-on tool freaks that like this is all they study is Snap-on. Oh, that's the variation of this wrench from 1974. Like, there's guys that nerd out on that stuff. So like if you're not sure, that's a way to join the group. You might have to answer some questions like, what was your first Snap-on tool that you had as a kid? Like there may be some stuff like that to get through. And there's some of them that don't post things for sale in there, and they'll tell you very explicit in the group. But like a lot of them will help you out. And I do agree with Leroy. Like I've put stuff up and people come back like kind of snarky. That's not what this is. It's this. Cool. Thanks. I'll change my post, my listing. So that's a few things that we use. There's obviously more. that more ways to do that throughout. But that's a good base knowledge of what that is. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this next segment if I can get my mouse to work. So this is something that we get a lot of times as well, is how do you know how to price or to price your item? So let's do a little reversal this time. We'll start with Cernoch.
All right, so the way I price my items, now I'm all over the place because sometimes like I'll be like, all right, so with my vintage items, like vintage clothing, vintage hats, sometimes you can't find the stuff out, so I tier price for what I think I can sell it for because I've done it enough time, so I've seen the prices, how what certain items get. But if you're not like that, you definitely want to comp. But the problem with comping is, especially like on hats, I get this all the time. Like, well, I got this really cool hat, and when I went to go look for it, I couldn't find anything like it. Well, one, that's awesome. Or two, I looked up this really cool hat, and there was only one sold, and it sold for $8. And so then you get like, okay, well, is that hat worth $8 because it sold for $8, or did they just sell it, too low? Maybe that's a $40 hat all day. But that person didn't, because like that's the one thing I always say about the comp. You really can't tell with the comps how long do they have that list. Okay, did they have that hat listed for 40 seconds and it sold for $8 because it was a $180 hat? Because my buddy did that one time. He had this Ohio State hat, the diamond cut hat. Okay, he put it on eBay for $40. It sold in literally 20 seconds. And he goes, what did I do wrong? I'm like, well, you sold it for $40 because that was a $240 hat. He's like, what? I didn't know that. So that's the one thing that, when it comes to comps, like, hey, well, so you want to take a good look. Now, if you have like a lot of housewares or things that are like selling very, very consistent, then by all means, go with the comp price, or if you want to go a little bit lower to get the quick flip, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of people, it scares them when they buy certain items, like a cool like jacket or something like that, where it's like, oh, well, I kind of see it. I don't know. Hey, go with your gut. Go, whatever you're comfortable with, go with it. But I always say, when you price your item, if you offer, do offers, always price them higher. Because again, we always say, what do we always say, Leroy?
Sell it high and let it fly.
Yeah, but that's different. No, I say set it high. You can always go lower because you can never go back up.
Yep.
So those are certain things that I do when I'm thinking about price. And I just try to be.
I moved you too quick, sir.
Yeah, you moved me. Yeah, so I just try to be competitive in my prices. Sometimes my prices are higher than others because I'm like, hey, I have better title, picture, okay, all those things. My price might be the best, but my title, my pictures are. And sometimes people buy from things that like, what, this looks this jacket looks a lot nicer with a good crisp photo with an AI background rather than on a dirty carpet. So those are also things to think about when you're comping as well.
Buy with your eyes.
Yeah.
Tim.
So I actually use a lot of the same techniques as far as identifying an item as for pricing an item. So I kind of go through a process as well. Sometimes certain items they might not sell like consistently. So they sell like, one might have sold 10 years ago. The market has obviously changed. Yeah. It could have gone up. It could have gone down. So you kind of have to take that in consideration. A lot of times, if you can't find a price on something, you have to try and find comparable comp. So like, I think in the sports car world, it's kind of helped a lot too. Like if you find like a numbered card that's out of 10, right? None of those other 9 cards might not have sold. So now you kind of have to look at that same player who has another numbered card to 10 that might have sold. So now you kind of are getting some sort of like relevancy to your pricing tactics and price guide. So I think that, a lot of the harder pricing, situations that you put yourself in are going to be because there's not a lot of information out. And I think Cernoch obviously touched on that. And I think sometimes you got to use your gut. When you sell enough of a lot of things, then you know what I'm saying? Like, Cernoch said about the tiered pricing, like that's like a go-to for me when it comes to like shirt, hat, that sort of stuff, when it's just like, okay, so now like I know that this hat isn't a $50 hat. I know it's not a $100 hat. So, like now do I have to decide if it's a $15 or a $25 hat? That's kind of, and a lot of times like what I do too is I have a price in mind. And this is why it's good to like have like friends like these three guys, or like live shows that we kind of that like listening and loafing, or like any of the other sort of Facebook groups that you might be in, is because like I might have a price in mind, right? But I want to like know if I'm shooting too high or if I'm shooting too low. So I'll ask Cernoch or Eric or Leroy, and I'd be like, so what would you price? Because then it kind of makes me like be like, okay, maybe I'm in the right place. Like they also have the same price, or maybe I'm a little higher, a little low. The other thing is too is like, when you're talking about pricing, you got to look at what the market is and how your business model is. Like I used to be like, especially when I was part-time, I was more stingy, more long tail. So like I was less keen to taking offers, or I would price mine at the highest possible sold comp because I could afford for it to sit around a little bit long. But now it's like I'm full-time. So like I can't be sitting here like twiddling my thumbs over 10 extra dollars. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but at the same time, you have to be careful because you don't want to lower the overall market, because it's not beneficial to the health of our industry as a whole. So you gotta kind of find a way to fit in the middle, in my opinion. So like I generally don't price, like if there's 7 of something listed that I have and I'm going to go list it, I won't list mine the absolute lowest, but I won't list mine the absolute highest either. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I kind of try to fit in the middle because I want to make the top dollar. But if I price mine higher and it's the same exact item, and like it just makes things difficult. Now you gotta hope that your item sells before somebody else's, which is definitely a possibility. But for me, I feel more comfortable putting it in the middle, and just always keep in mind what's your profit margin. So like, don't be spending $50 to sell something for $100 if you need that $100 really fast, because then you're going to end up taking that offer for $75 after fees. You made $15. You invested all that capital for no reason. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you're pricing, you have to keep everything in consideration. How long do you want to hold the item for? How fast do you want to move the item? What the market value is? How rare your item is? Like all those things are going to come into consideration. But I use WorthPoint. I use, eBay sold comps, stuff like that. Sometimes, like I'll go to some of the other sites too, because you got to remember, like I cross list, which we're going to talk about today. So like sometimes I'll see it on Macari and stuff like that. And I know Cernoch and me, because we cross list the most, we price things differently depending upon the website that the platform that we're selling it on. Like my eBay prices aren't always the same as my poshmark prices and Grailed and Macari and all that stuff. So it's all a little bit different. So those are just some of the factors that you should take into consideration when you're going through the process of pricing your item.
Yeah. Leroy?
Okay, so I got a little example for you guys. So in my hand, this is a 1/4-inch vintage 6-inch extension. Okay, for a lot of the 1/4-inch tools, a lot of people collect them, and they were in a set, and the set is missing the extension or the swivel. And these guys, like Eric was saying earlier about, trying to find a group. There's groups that is just for before 1960s craftsman 1/4-inch sets. Like that they don't want nothing else on there. So what I do when I go to price my stuff is, I'm gonna pull this up for you guys. Okay. So I have the one that I showed you. The same exact one as this first one. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm gonna pause it for a second. It comes back.
I'm here.
Wait. All right. The next segment we wanted to talk about today, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. It's gonna be a deep dive into the world of to cross list or not. Obviously there's been some talk throughout the reseller community about cross. There's lots of opinions about cross listing, and even among us here on the show, we all have a different thing that we do when it comes to cross listing. For you guys that are new to reselling, cross listing merely means that I'm listing the same item on multiple reselling platforms, and that could be in a lot of different platforms. It could be, eBay, Poshmark, Macari. When we look at Depop, Grailed, there's Etsy even. there's some platforms we don't even use, like Kitizen. Also, now there's a way to list your Posh to Whatnot, which is a whole nother platform. But we're going to go ahead and jump into cross-listing. And Tim and Cernoch do a lot of this and have for a while. And even they have a different way of doing things. So we want to talk to them a little bit about this. And then me and Leroy will jump in about our little cross-listing adventures. Cernoch.
So the main thing about cross-listing, I think a lot of people really get bogged down into it. The one main thing for is, do you have the right item cross? I do a lot of clothing, shoe, hat. So websites like Depop, Poshmark, Grail, Kari are perfect for. You can have your eggs all in one basket, but it's good to spread out those eggs. Don't let people find them. That's what I say. And if you're using a cross lister like Vendoo, perfect flip like that, it takes, those programs are getting so much better that you are not spending a lot of time cross. I can tell you, I use Vendoo. Okay, I'm partial to Vendoo. That I do my listings into eBay first, and then I process them into Vendoo. So from there, I already have the listing on eBay, then I import it into Vendoo. And then from there, I can have a Poshmark listing, a cross listing done in 20 to 30 seconds. I can have it done just by going in there, bam. Same thing with Macari, bam. Grail probably takes me 45 seconds to a minute because all your pictures are already loaded. A lot of the item descriptions, item specifics, already all loaded in there for you, especially on Vendoo. You can select certain things and toggle it the way you want it to where it gets really easy because all your stuff is right there and it's putting it in the platform. And the one thing I'll do like about Vendoo is, back in the day, you would have to, if something sold, you'd be like, okay, let me take it off the platform. Well, now they have the auto detection and, it will take it off if it sells on eBay and Poshmark right now. They're adding some new ones in shortly. But eBay or Poshmark, if it sells on those platforms, it's taken down. So that's what I really like. So if you're not doing it, I say, hey, try it out. See what you think about it. See, if you like it, it works because Tim said earlier, pricing your item differently on different platforms. I do that too. I run a constant 20% off on my eBay, but if I list it to Poshmark or Grail or somewhere else, I'm doing the pre 20% off discount because, hey, especially on Grail, there's a different kind of clientele. These are not eBay buyers. These are not Poshmark buyers. They are Grail buyers. They're going basically off of what they see. So I've done it many times where say I have a jacket listed for 100. I've sold that listed for 100 on eBay. I've sold that jacket for 125 on Grail. No questions asked, no problem. So those are some of the benefits. Now, some people say, well, just with eBay, keep with eBay. But again, if you're doing a lot of clothing, Poshmark is definitely, you're getting a brand new set of eyeballs just on Poshmark. And with these other platforms too, especially like Poshmark and Macari, people can spend their money they've earned on those platforms right back into the platform. So it's like, how many times have you seen on Macari? It's like, hey, you got $30 sitting there waiting, go shopping. A lot of people do that with their earnings. So if you're not on that platform, that you may not be able to grab that sale because they're not, as much as I love eBay, not everyone is on buying. So that's what I think about cross listing. I would say give it a shot. There's a lot of great programs out there. I use Vendoo. I've used it for a long time and it works for me. I know people that use List Perfectly, and we'll hear from Tim. It works for him. So these are the things. All day people can say, hey, it doesn't work, but hey, when you have 5 sales on eBay, 2 on Grail, 3 on Poshmark, and 1 on Macari, that's all going out the same day. And that all money's come, all that money cumulative is coming in. So it's kind of like, and obviously I've sold things that I've had listed on eBay forever and put them on these other sites and boom, they sold. So you never know where your item's going to sell, especially like with us, we're not selling need, a lot of times we're selling once. And so you have to spread those once out to get those certain eyeballs.
That's a bar right there.
Right?
That last part is, everything you just touched on is so true, but that last part, that's a bar.
Yeah. So that's what I think. I cross list. I cross list every day. You know, it works hand in blood.
You're muted, Eric. You're Leroy. You're still.
Can't.
All right, so I will. I'll do my spiel now on cross listing. So I'll tell you what's absolutely hysterical right now. Literally, as soon as Cernoch started talking, I made a sale on Grail. Literally, as soon as he started talking. Remember that New York Yankees crew neck sweatshirt I bought a couple days ago?
Yes.
It just sold on Grail for $40.
Yeah.
So it's like literally when people ask us, should I be, cross listing or cross posting, whatever people want to say. Why not? Why not? Ask yourself that question. Why not? Like, I understand if you have a lot on your plate and you don't want to, if you think it's too much, I completely understand, right? But don't be one of these people out here complaining about slow sales to me. You know what I'm saying? Don't be one of these people out here complaining about lowball offers to me. I don't want to hear none of that if you're not cross listing. If you're not cross listing, if you're a full-time reseller and you're complaining about slow sales and you're not cross-listing, don't talk to me, because it's mind-blowing. Like, literally, I don't even look at it as cross-listing. To me, it's just listing, because I'm listing directly into List Perfectly, and then it's just, I'm shooting it out to all the platforms, right? So like for me, it's just listing. It's just literally like an extra minute maybe to list on all those other platforms. So to me, it's just like, why not? The more eyes, the better. I mean, the way Cernoch ended his, like, just that description about, like, needs versus wants, and like maybe the eyes that you need to have that sale isn't on the platform that you're selling it on. You sell it on other platforms. And then, like, there's pros and cons. Like, some of these platforms, the fees, you want to complain about eBay fees? Are you cross-listing? Because if you're not cross-listing, you're complaining about fees. I don't want to hear it either. Because, Grailed, Depop, cheaper fees. You want to complain about shipping and you're not on Poshmark or Mercari? I don't want to hear it. Because both of those people are giving you labels. Like, for me...
Grail's giving you labels.
Grail's giving you labels too now, exactly. Yeah. And if you really wanted to, you could use Depop shipping.
Yeah.
You could literally eliminate all of that like headache that some people think it is, and just sell on those platforms. And this is a thing too. It's like, I had that Yankees crew neck sweatshirt, right? It was listed on eBay. It was listed on Mercari, Poshmark, Depop, Grailed, right? All those platforms 3 days ago. And obviously I know like the eBay metrics, like it's always something weird, like where it's the views and watchers. It says on my eBay that I only had one view on that sweatshirt. On Grailed, I already had a bunch of likes and a sale within 3 days. So it's like, oh, well, you're worried about a saturated market? Move out of the eBay and onto another market. Nobody's saying that you have to ditch eBay. Nobody's saying that eBay is not like going to be your number one platform. eBay is still my number one platform. But like this weekend, I had more sales on Etsy than I did eBay, which doesn't happen like all the time. And it hasn't happened in a long time but out of nowhere, Etsy killed it for me this weekend. So like when eBay's down, if I have the other marketplaces to lift me up, it's just brilliant. And the other thing that's crazy too is that like literally you can go to the description of this video. You can try Vendoo. You can try List Perfectly. Take our links, try the trials, try both of them. See which one you like best. Like, that's the beautiful thing is that, like, I use List Perfectly, Cernoch uses Vendoo. Like, we're not going to push you onto one of these platforms and be like, ours is better, use this code and this and that, right? We want you to try both. You know what I'm saying? Because what's important to us is that you guys are doing what's best for you. We're not trying to tell you how to run your business. We're not trying to tell you that this is the only way to do things. We're trying to tell you that there are these options. There are other ways. We're encouraging you to try new things because we talk about it time and time again. Adjust and adapt. Okay? So like for me, it's like, and you could do it with everything. Like I'm learning too. Every single day I'm learning, okay, how can I better myself as a reseller when it comes to crosslist? I'm diversifying my posh closet now. I'm adding more women's clothing to my listing, to my repertoire, okay? To my source. I'm also, looking into doing silent shows on Poshmark. I'm learning how I can refresh my Mercari list, right? All of this is being done while I'm still listing on eBay. Like, I'm constantly like trying to get the ball rolling in another direction because there's time and time again, people were like, They all want to talk bad about eBay, but it's like, dude, if it's a problem, there's solutions to your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, just open your eyes. Stop being closed-minded. Absolutely. Equivocally, is that the word to say it? Equivocally? Yeah, whatever that word is. That. Try cross-listing. You should be cross-listing. Literally, it's like the same thing as listing it to eBay. It's just another extra minute. Oh, well, I'm trying to list 5,000 $5 items in a day, Well, dude, like, come on, guys. Like, let's try and just do things a little bit different. Like, expand your horizons, all right? Cross-listing is out there. It is not going anywhere. It is the future of reselling. If you're a full-time reseller, if you're trying to build up a business, I'm not going to judge anybody for not doing it. But if you're going to complain, I'm going to judge you because, listen, you should be cross-listing. So, and it's everything, too. It's not just clothes. I know we talked a lot about clothes because there's a lot of those clothes-only platforms. But my antiques, my glass, go on eBay, Etsy, Mercari. My golf clubs, Mercari, and eBay. If it's an antique golf club, Etsy, Mercari, and eBay.
Yeah, I've been selling a lot of houseware stuff on Poshmark.
And that's another thing I'm trying to do.
On Poshmark, so there's a lot of different.
And you can go back. You can go back. Go back. I'm so glad Cernoch brought that up because I can go back to eBay and I can look at my listings on eBay and be like, oh, this might be this Ray Dunn coffee mug will probably sell on Poshmark. This Starbucks tumbler will probably sell on Poshmark. I know a lot of people sell larger household items. I know, Cernoch, you've sold some cast iron and some kitchen stuff on Poshmark before, right?
Yeah.
So like that sort of stuff because the shipping. So people are looking to buy golf clubs on Mercari because of shipping. They're looking to buy cast iron stuff on Poshmark because of the shipping. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know. For me, I'm a big advocate of it. I think you guys should try it. If you ever have any questions, Cernoch and I are here to help you, whichever platform you decide to choose from. And listen, I was cross-listing before they even had a cross-listing program. Like before I had even signed up on List Perfectly, I was manually cross-list. So like it's a little bit of extra work, but listen, you gotta work hard if you want to play hard. That's all there is to it. So I know I kind of ranted there a little bit. I apologize, but I'll let Eric chime in a little bit. Eric's like, were you yelling at me because I'm not
gonna listen to you? I'm not gonna listen to you. Cross-listing's a complete waste of time. No, hey, I will tell you this. Like, I live out here at the Outer Banks, so there's a lot of fishing that happens out here. A very common thing is the more hooks you have in the water, the more fish you catch. But you got to make sure the bait's right. Like that's one of the things. So here's the thing: if you start with good items, you're gonna sell. That's the thing. If your bait's no good, you can have tons of hooks in the water. It ain't gonna make no difference. But if you start with good items, now I will say this: people shop differently. As weird as it sounds, like people shop on different platforms. It's just how it is. Like there are people that are posture. There are people that are on Mercari. There are people that are on some of these other platforms, Amazon, like you can imagine any and everything. And Google's pushing that.
It's been one of these shows, ladies and gentlemen. It would not be a RIN episode if it wasn't for a little bit of technology mishaps. Shout out to Leroy, who's back in the building.
All right,
Eric's back. Here we go. He's ready to throw that mouse through the computer screen.
So look, oddly enough, I do cross to a very little spoken of platform. It is Bonanza. Very minimal effort on behalf of me. Once you sign up for a Bonanza account and connect your eBay to it, you know what happens? Every time I list something, it gets listed on Bonanza. I don't do anything. I will get an email. I will say this: if you sell on Bonanza, make sure you pay attention to Bonanza. Because I've had a few times where I've sold something and a couple days later I actually checked it and I was like, oh, I sold over there. I better go ahead and do it. And also I have used Flip. And I've tried most of the other cross lists. For me, honestly, I do not cross list as much as these guys by any means. And some of it for me just boiled down to time. I'm actually kind of changing my business model a little bit. I'm going to start doing more on Whatnot. So for me, like the way of cross listing for me is to basically give things a period of time to sell and then move them over to Whatnot and sell. If they don't sell within a certain period of time. That's where I'm headed as far as a business model. Now, I do see the benefits of cross listing. Just like I said, you can put more hooks in the water. You can attract different customers from different places. Cernoch has been telling me for years that Grailed is the place for military if you want to make money on them, because you can sell them for sometimes double what you would get on eBay for them. And I've seen that firsthand from him. So just to what my suggestion would be for you is to, like you said, you can take the trial and those cross listing, but you might have to baby step into it. Like the suggestion I do tell people is get to know one platform before you try to get on all, because as a new reseller, you know what you're going to do. You're confuse yourself. You're going to get to a place of like, man, like get some basis of how to list, right? Like take good pictures, make sure you're getting a decent title going. Make sure, like get some basics down and then begin to branch out. And you might not want to be like these guys and jump into 7 platforms. And you're like, dude, I kind of look at it like juggling balls, right? When you first start to juggle, what do? You start with 1 ball, then you go to 2 balls, then you go to 3 balls. Like, and if you jump to 7 right out of the gate, all your balls will be on the floor. Like,
don't drop your balls.
So that's the thing, is you definitely want to take baby steps towards that. And like what these guys are saying, if you're a clothing seller, it may be a good idea to say, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put all my clothing on eBay and Posh. And now these guys will tell you can sell pretty much anything on any platform for the most part, but there are some platforms that are geared more to certain categories than others. Like Tim sold golf clubs on Etsy, which is weird, but okay, they weren't handmade golf clubs.
My most expensive sold shirt ever sold on Etsy.
There you go.
I sold it all over print Garfield shirt on Etsy for $300+. So like, I mean, that thing was sitting on eBay for forever.
Yeah, so there you go. Hey, Leroy, we wanted you to jump in on the cross-listing format and see, like, what do you do?
What I do is I cross from my computer to my phone, and then my internet messes up, so it makes me go to another platform, which is my cell phone, and then that makes me sideways. So now you get a little bit of me. I'm a big guy, and you can't even see that because it's only showing like a quarter of me here. But that's what we do. Like we cross, like picture. We do cross, like shows.
And we adjust and we adapt, right?
All kidding aside, I have not tried cross-listing at all. No offense to my buddies, and I'm surprised they haven't kicked me off the show because most of the stuff that they do, I don't do. But I think that's why we have such a good brotherhood, because we are different, and they allow different. We allow different here, where not everybody has to do exactly the same way. So just because I don't cross-list, Cernoch doesn't message me and say, hey, don't talk to Leroy because, he doesn't even know anything. He doesn't know what Bonanza is. He's never even been on the site. So I appreciate that from these guys. Again, I told you guys before, be yourself and don't let another influencer pressure you. Like go where you think is good. Do some research. Okay, I sell clothes. Well, they say Poshmark, women's clothes so good on Poshmark. Then you should sell women's clothes on Poshmark. I mean, I'm not going to sell tools on the Nickelodeon toy site. But
listen to this. I do think, Leroy, if you were up for it, I would try to cross, like if you like maybe took a month on like one of the cross listing services and just try your tools on Mercari. I think you would be highly successful selling tools on Mercari. I really, really, really do. And I think, but you tell people too, like your form of cross-listing, there's a form of cross-listing that you do. You sell at the flea market, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have a process, and everything goes through eBay first. And then if I don't feel like,
yeah,
see what happens when you don't cross-list? You're out.
I know he talked about Cernoch. Cernoch kicked him right out of the show.
Fine.
Yeah, there you go. No, we do appreciate. I know what Leroy's talking about. Like we all know because we talked to Leroy behind the scenes, and he gives his items a certain amount of time. Like he generally comes spring, dude. He guts his store and takes it to the flea market and starts over. I really, honestly, I'm jealous of that because sometimes we have a lot. I mean, I know me and Cernoch have an overabundance of stuff. And, that's one of the reasons why I've talked about, like, for me, like shifting gears a little bit and trying to get a little bit more streamlined. I know cross listing is a way to do that as well. And I would never, discount that. Like for us though, it is good to just hear different ones have different doing and whatever works for you. I've got stuff like crawling towards me right now behind me. Leroy, finish your thought about the
I give
flea
up.
market.
I give up. There's no thoughts. There's no more thoughts. I've been so amped up today, guys. I actually went and had breakfast. I went and had lunch first and then came on the show. You noticed when I started the show, I actually was going online. I was bringing stuff over from eBay. I thought I was the cat's meow. I can't even meow. So, I don't want to get too.
You just kind of weak. Hey, I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
You spin me round.
You spin me around, baby. Are you there, or is it just an image of me?
I'm not talking no more.
Leroy, we're gonna give you the first exit. You've already we do thank all you guys for being here, and we do appreciate you dropping questions and comments. We will try our best to get to every one of you as far as your questions and comments. And do stop by on Tuesdays. Leroy will be at Reseller Rally. We'll stream on my device, so we'll make sure that we're there. And we probably will give you a little excerpt from Reseller Rally. By the time you guys watch this, I will be there on location, so I'll try to give you guys an update as to what's. We do appreciate it, each and every one of you guys. Don't forget to check out the links down below. We do have links for all the cross platforms, including Leroy's Flea Market, if you want to go and check that out. So we do thank you guys for being here. Leroy, give us a quick exit.
Oh, I want to make it long. Why does it have to be quick? Now you
I didn't want your phone to cut out.
I got 30 seconds of hotspot here. I mean, come on. Thanks everybody for having patience with us. I'm not gonna. Don't like to say it bad, but we're not the most technical, but we care about what we do for you guys. We care about you guys. We love what we do. We don't claim to be the best of it, but we claim to really like what we do. So you guys continue having a great week. I'm going to go meet some people this weekend, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Hey, like Leroy said, keep those questions coming in. Hopefully y'all are, grabbing some tidbits, grabbing some nuggets from us, because again, we want to give you the information for y'all to be a success. Again, we all do this different. We may talk the same route, but we're all coming from different roads and feeder roads and gravel roads, sometimes out of the ditch, but we're all going to the same place, So hopefully these, little tidbits can help the way, you may want to work, or the style that you work in. You may find something from us. They go, you know what? That may make it a little easier for me, or maybe enhance a certain way. So, if you got questions, join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is really taken off, where there's a lot of people in there already. Just asking great questions, or even giving some great answers. So, definitely do that. Follow us on Instagram, and Tim, take us out.
We don't all have the same answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you guys again for an absolutely amazing episode of the Reseller Information Network. We want to thank you guys for all the love and all of the support. We want to thank you guys, all of our members, for the Members Club. We appreciate you guys for joining the Members Club. We also want to thank you guys for joining us on Instagram. And definitely thank you for joining us on Facebook. Ticker the Squirrel is the best piece I ever wrote. It's intricate. Once said Ken Casey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to hit thumbs up, subscribe, and share. Leroy dancing right now. His face is like so big in the backyard of StreamYard. It's amazing. Don't forget to tell Fred about RIN Reseller Information Network. Boo 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 boo.